So the first 2 weeks of these meetings, we talked about how God speaks in June, and then in July we talked about God following how God calls us, and then following Him and how He prepares us. Now in August, we're going to be looking at a journey, the journey that God takes us on, because the truth is, He has every one of us going on one. He has a path for each and every one of us that's different from everybody else, and we know where we're at right now. We know that God has a bigger plan for us. Some of us may know a little more clearly where He wants to take us. Other times He may not have revealed some of it to us, and we're like, God, where am I going? And we're seeking that. But we're all in different, and we're all in different stages. Some of us are in the more beginning stage. Some of us are on maybe more the end of the preparation stage and on to some new and better things. But the point is, we're all on a journey. And so that's really going to be the theme for this month. And the most famous one in the Bible probably is Abraham, because when God called him to follow Him, He called him to go on a journey. He didn't just reveal everything to Abraham at the exact same time. Abraham, I've got all these giant things for you. It would have been too much, right? Because if God were to reveal all the things that He wants us to do all at one time and all the promises, we'd be overwhelmed. We'd say, God, I can't do all of these promises. They're too good for me. All the promises that you have are too big for me. I can't do it. And then also, all the things that He's asked us to do would be like, God, that's too hard and that's too hard. I can't do all of those different things. And that's why God will sometimes not reveal everything to us immediately, but He'll reveal it in stages. But look at how God first called Abraham. It's in Genesis chapter 12, verse 1. He said to Abraham, get out from your country and from your family and from your father's house and go to the land that I will show you. I will be with you, and I will make your name great, and I will bless you, and you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse those who curse you, and through you all the families of the earth will be blessed. So God gave Abraham this impossible thing to do, but He also gave him a promise. Because many times all we've got is look at the promise that God has given Abraham here. He says, I will make your name great. Now, God has called each and every one of us to be great. Now, it may not be great in the eyes of man, but great in the eyes of God. In Matthew chapter 25, Jesus told a parable about how He entrusted His servants with talents or money. And He gave each servant a different amount of money and said, trade with it until I come. And the guys that traded with it, when He came, He told them, He said, you have done well, good and faithful servant. For you've been faithful over a few things, I will make you ruler over many things. Enter into the joy of your Lord. That's the goal. The goal is that we are going to be called by God and said, you have done well. Now, some of those servants were given, one of those guys was given 10 talents, another guy was given 5, another guy was given 2, and another guy was given 1. The guy that had 1 wasted it. But the guys that had less were still great in the eyes of God. Because God counts greatness differently than we do. God counts, think about it like this. Pastor Matt told me about a guy who's a pastor in a little town of 100 people, and yet he has 160 people come on Easter to his worship service. That's greatness. Now, none of us know his name. He's not on TV or anything like that. But God is doing a work in that guy in the thing that he is being entrusted with. Whereas you have some of these guys that have multi-million-dollar things, multi-million-dollar opportunities and all this, and yet they mess it up, and yet they go into their own go off into their own way. That's not greatness, even though everybody knows their name. Greatness is following God. Okay, take Mom, for example. Her assignment was raise 5 kids to seek God. She made 0 money while doing it. You don't get paid for raising kids. And yet all 5 of us are seeking God. It's 100% success rate. That's greatness in the eyes of God. She took what God gave her and made 100% success rate out of it. And so when God called us to be great, he's saying be great in your own lane. Each one of us has our own path. Each one of us has our own assignment, our own challenges that we're going to have to overcome, and our own triumphs that we're going to get. And we've got to be happy for each other, because when one person gets it, the kingdom of God is strengthened. When you get it, the kingdom of God is strengthened. It's being comfortable in who we are, because we're not looking to be great in the eyes of man. We're looking to be great in the eyes of our Creator, so that God will tell us, you have done well, good and faithful servant. And the other thing that God told Abraham was, I'll make your name great, and you will be a blessing through, and he said, I will bless you, and you will be a blessing. Through you, all of the nations of the earth shall be blessed. There is a blessing in seeking God. When God tells us to go on this journey, when God tells us to go off into the unknown and be like, and make decisions that people would think are crazy, and to follow him in spite of what everybody else is doing in the world, there's a blessing to that. And we should live expecting that blessing. We should live expecting that God is going to do good things for us. That God is not just going to pile up hardships. It's all for a purpose. There's great things in store. There's promises in store for us that we can't get without going on this journey. Abraham could not be blessed until after he left. But once he left, whenever he encountered something hard, he knew it was for a purpose, because he's getting blessed. Whenever we encounter these problems in our life, and they're coming, and they may be, we may be dealing with them right now. But the thing is, we're in that. We know that we're going to be blessed. In that, we know that God has a plan for our lives. God has promises, some of which he hasn't even revealed to us, but we know it's going to be good. We don't know where we're going, but we know it's going to be good. And it's exciting, because we can just expect, we can live with that expectation of good. Because a lot of people follow God. They live with the expectation of bad things happening, of tragedies happening, of only hardships, and only, when we get to heaven, that'll be good, but the rest of the time is going to be terrible, and we don't know, what's going to happen, and the truth is we don't, but we do know that God will work it together for good. Romans says he works all things together for good to them that love God, and if we love God, we should be expecting good things to happen. We should be expecting that when a hardship comes, God will give us the ability to overcome it. He will compensate us for our loss. Whatever the devil has stolen from us, God is going to give it back sevenfold, like he promised in the Bible. We can expect to live blessed as we follow God. And what God had told Abraham to do to receive that blessing, God told Abraham two things. One, the first one, he said, leave the land, leave your country, get out of your country and from your relatives and from your father's house. In order for Abraham to receive from God, he had to leave things behind. He had to go away from the world that he knew. And the world he knew was pretty good. He lived in the land of Mesopotamia, which at the time was the most prosperous, richest, most advanced civilization in history up to that point. He lived in the most prosperous place in the world, and God said, I want you to leave that, and I want you to go to the land of Canaan. He said, which later we know that's going to become the promised land. He didn't know that. And God didn't actually say, go to the land of Canaan. He just said, go to the land that I will show you. So Abraham had to leave everything behind. And the truth is, if we want to follow God, there are certain things that we have to leave behind. And there are other things that we have to be willing to leave behind. We have to be willing that no matter what comes our way, God has to be the highest priority. Now, he may not ask for everything, but he might. He might ask for more than we would expect, and we have to be willing that no matter what he asks us to leave behind, no matter what he asks us to give up, we're going to do it because he has big plans for our future. He has amazing blessings in store for us, but we have to leave things behind. And there are certain things, the things of the world, that have to be left behind. Obviously sin, right? Because it weighs us down as we're seeking God. It wars against our faith. But also, certain types of emotions. We have to get our emotions under complete control and say, I will not be dominated by my emotions. I will not be dominated by what I feel. Hebrews said that if Abraham had been mindful of the place where he came, he would not have inherited the promise. If Abraham had been constantly thinking about how good was and how good Mesopotamia was, how good his hometown and the nice house that he lived in and the neighbors that he left behind and his brother that he left behind and all of the security and the safety that he left behind, he would have gone home. It said they would have had opportunity to return in Hebrews chapter 11. He would have had opportunity to go back. He never looked back. We have to choose. God, when you ask me to leave something behind, I will not look back. Now, if he chooses to restore it to you, then so be it. But if not, then we're going to follow him regardless. And there's certain emotions that we have to get under control in order to follow him. For instance, fear. Fear has to be left behind. Now, fear is a natural emotion. We're all given, or we all have fear. But if we want to achieve what God's told us to achieve, we have to keep it in check. We cannot live dominated by fear any longer. It has no place in us. Fear has no place going where we're going. Because where God's called us to go is going to be more difficult than we would have expected, but also more blessed than we would have expected. Some of the reason God sometimes doesn't show us things is because if we knew how blessed we were going to be, we'd say, I can't do it. It's too big. It's too good for me. The saying, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. God knows that we're tempted to think like that. And so sometimes he'll hide blessings as a surprise for us and say, you don't know just how good the plan that I have for you is. And that's when the enemy comes in, because when he senses that we have good things in store for us, he's going to come in with fear and try and get us to be afraid of it and try and get us to look back at the security or try and get us to run away from what God has told us to do. And we cannot live dominated by fear, because fear is not going to help us to achieve what God's called us to do. It's hard enough as it is, but it can be much, much harder on ourselves if we allow ourselves to live in fear. If we allow ourselves to be dominated by what we feel, we are going to cause ourselves much more hurt. And the enemy is already out there to hurt us. We've already got enough to deal with, and we don't need to deal with we don't need to be dealing with our own baggage. We need to leave that behind and say, God, I trust you. I will not fear. What can man do to me? Like David said. We will not fear because God has good things in store for us. We will not be afraid because God is our protection. He promised Abraham protection. He told Abraham, I will be with you, and I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse those who curse you. The people that come against us are not blessed by God. God will go against them. The people who who side with us and who will be with us and believe with us as we're standing in faith, God will bless them, not just for their sake, but for our sake. He loves people who will stand with each other and be united and say, we are going to work together and believe for this. We're not going to be doubters. When someone asks for prayer, we're not going to be thinking, you better have a plan B just in case God doesn't show up. That's not what God rewards. That brings on a curse. But if we want to be blessed, we've got to be willing to say, God, I will believe, not just for myself, but for other people. I'm going to stand with other people in their faith. There is a blessing for us in standing with other people as they believe in God. And there's a blessing for other people as they stand with us as we believe for God to work. That's why God has designed the church to be unified. And when we are unified after the same thing, when we're believing and trusting in God together, there is a blessing that is poured out. And there's a protection that's poured out on us. The enemy can have all of the plans that he wants, but we are protected by God. So whenever it looks like the enemy is going to win, we know we do not have to live by fear. We can say, God, I trust you for your protection. I know you're going to be there to protect us. You're going to take care of me wherever I go, because you said you will be with me. You said you will bless me. You said I will bless those that bless you and curse those that curse you. We're blessed by God. The people who are believing with us are blessed by God. We will be blessed as we believe with other people. And so we can take that step of faith and believe because we know God's protecting us. And when God asks us to take this step, he may ask us to do something that we don't understand. Notice what he told Abraham. Go to the land that I will show you. Go to the land that I will show you. He didn't show him where it was. He just said, go that way, right? I mean, how did Abraham know where to go? He just went west. He just went off into the desert. Because many times God won't reveal to us our second step. God won't reveal to us the third and fourth and fifth step. And we're planners. We like to know, God, where are you taking me? God, how are you going to work in my life? What are you going to do with the plan, with the path that you have for me? What kind of hardships am I going to deal with? What kind of blessings are in store? And God says, most of that is not for you to know. It's not for us to know all of this. He knows the plan, and we can trust in his plan. He didn't reveal all this to Abraham. He had to just take one step of faith. Oftentimes, God will just tell us, you take one step of faith, then he will reveal the next phase of our lives. Then he will reveal it. He reveals things after we take a step of faith. Abraham left his hometown, and he traveled, and he was camping out in the desert and in Canaan, which would later become Israel. And one of those days that he's traveling around, he camps out by a certain spot, and God appears to him, and God says, to you and your descendants, I will give this land. God didn't tell Abraham, go to the land that I will show you and I will give it to you. Go to Canaan, you get on I-40 and you drive west and you take at Colorado Springs, turn north, right? This is not, God didn't give Abraham a road map and say, I want you to just follow me down this road map like Siri, turn left, turn right. God told Abraham, just go that way. And Abraham had to take that step of faith. But as he took that step of faith and he got to the land, God revealed to him the promise. And the truth is, Abraham was into the land of Canaan. It's not a tiny land. I mean, it is compared to the United States. It's about the size of New Jersey, but still, it's not small enough that you just walk in and you just pass the whole land in one day. He had to camp out in this place multiple different days, but it was one of those random days that God appeared to him. Sometimes we're wondering, God, what am I supposed to do? Am I in the right spot? And we could be in the absolute right spot. We could be doing exactly what God wants us to do. But his timing for revealing the next step isn't there yet. So many times when we're in the right spot, and if we have the peace of God, we just need to keep doing what we're doing. And when the perfect timing comes, he'll reveal the next step. And as we take one step of faith, then he revealed to Abraham the next step of faith. And all throughout Genesis, all throughout Abraham's story, Abraham would do something by faith, and God would reveal the next step. So he goes into the land, and God says, I'm going to give it to you. Later, he brought his nephew Lot, which he never should have done, and they ended up, their ranch hands got in a fight, and so he said, we need to split up. You get first pick, and Lot picked the best land over by Sodom and Gomorrah, and Abraham got the desert. And what did God say? Abraham, walk in the land, north, south, east, and west. All this land will be given to you. All this land. You see, he had to take a step of faith when he left Lot, and then God gave him the land. Later, Lot had lived around Sodom, and he got captured by enemies of Sodom. And Abraham had to go rescue him. And then by faith, Abraham ended up paying tithes to God, 10% of everything that he had. Then God says, behold, Abraham, I am your shield, your exceedingly great reward. And then he said, you're going to have a child. Right? Then Abraham has the child, and God says, take him up to the mountain and sacrifice him. Abraham takes him up to the mountains, about to slay his son, and God says, stop. Now I know you fear God. You see, every time that God revealed something to Abraham, it was after, not before, after he took the step of faith. we can trust in God and know that if God's telling us to do something and we don't have any reason for doing it, and we don't have any explanation of where it's leading us, and we can't figure out the plan, that God will reveal the next stage of the plan as we follow him. And it will get clearer and clearer and clearer, little by little. He works in that way. He works little by little, step by step. We take a step, he gives an answer. We take a step, he tells the next play, says where to go. Think of the pillar of cloud. When the pillar of cloud moved, the Israelites moved. When their pillar of cloud stayed, the Israelites stayed. It was entirely based around the Holy Spirit. And that's why it's so vitally important that we get close with God. Because as he's telling us to take these steps, they can sound insane. But we trust in God. We trust that he's going to help us. We trust that he's going to work in us. And as we are taking these steps of faith, we trust that he's not only going to reveal to us the next step, but we become blessed. It said Abraham was very rich. After he came to the land, he became very rich. Actually, no, it says that Abraham was rich after he came into the land. Then when he separated from Lot and then he gave tithes to God, it said that he was very rich. God increased him, made him more wealthy as he obeyed him. The blessings increase as we obey God. The more we obey him, the more faith we show, the more God will pour out his blessings because we can handle it. And we're going to use those blessings for the kingdom. And so God's called us to live a blessed life. God's called us to be blessed. And as we follow God out into the unknown, as we follow God and are able to leave things behind and trust in his plan and trust that he has blessings in store for us, he will begin to work in our lives. We're going to see the power of God work. We're going to see the blessings, the protection, all the good things that he has for us as we follow him. And so the question that I have basically the question that we have today is, have you ever had a situation where God's told you to do something and it makes absolutely zero sense at the time, and then it's revealed later that it revealed that there was a purpose in this. There was a reason why God had told you to do this. There was something greater that we didn't even think about until after that happened, until after we took the step of faith. I hope you enjoyed today's message. I want to hear your thoughts on today's topic, so please leave a comment below. Also, remember to like this message so more people will see it, and subscribe to my channel so you will see future videos. Please consider donating using the links in the description. Your gifts make this channel possible. Thank you for watching. See you next week.